Hello, sisters. Welcome to the Sacred Medicine Podcast, weaving powerful, soulful practices into functional medicine. Step into this beautiful space of devotion and explore everything from nurturing foods, rituals, sexuality, and awakening your innate sensuality. It is time to own your radiance. This is the Sacred Medicine Podcast. Hello and welcome back to another week of the Sacred Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Margaret Romero, and this week we have a really juicy topic just in time for Valentine's Day. And my guest is Jenn Burton. She is the founder of the podcast Single Smart Female, which I listen to. And Jenn knows her stuff when it comes to dating. So I had her on this week to talk all about dating, online dating, and kind of what to do, some of the things you can do to meet men. Maybe you don't want to be online. And so we talk a little bit about that. And we also talk about Valentine's Day. You know, it's coming up and some people love it, some people hate it. So we talked about, if you are single, some of the things that you can do to celebrate the day or not. And I think it was a really fun interview. I think you're going to get so much out of it, especially with Valentine's Day right around the corner. So let's just go on to the show. This week we have a return guest, my friend Jenn Burton from Single Smart Female Podcast. Jenn, thanks so much for being here today.
Hey, Margaret. I'm really excited to be here, so thank you for inviting me back.
Yeah. So, you know, with this new year, 2019, I really feel that at least I've been getting, you know, in the conversations with some of my girlfriends that are like, all right, this is the year. I'm going to do online dating. I'm going to do it. I want to. This is the year. I want to find someone. I just want to start dating. And there's just like a lot of enthusiasm around it. So I wanted to just talk to you about the women that may be listening that are like, yeah, feeling maybe the same way, but not really sure how to approach it or what they should do. Should they do the online thing? And so let's talk about it.
Okay. Is it okay if I start and say that love favors enthusiastic women. So I really like the idea that you have friends and you're hearing this a lot, that they're ready to do something and do something that is out of their comfort zone.
Yes, definitely. So where should they get started, do you think?
Okay, so if we're specifically talking about online dating, the first thing you always start with is an important decision to make. And a lot of women go into online dating and they put up something that's called what I call an whatever profile. And that means they get up there, they don't know exactly what to write, they're kind of nervous, they put up a couple pictures that they just want to make sure they look thin enough in and as attractive as they can, but they might be very dated pictures. And a lot of them still have I don't think it's called the MySpace angle anymore, but the really high angle, a selfie angle where you're trying to make yourself look as thin as possible.
Right.
And they're not giving an interesting, accurate representation of themselves. In fact, what they're doing is, again, when they're putting out a whatever profile it has very generic terms. I am very passionate about life. I'm very athletic, or I'm adventurous. I am this and I am that. And they talk in just adjectives. What happens is they right off the bat start attracting what I call crickets or crazies, meaning they're not going to hear from a lot of great guys. So they'll hear crickets, or they start to attract guys that are a bit off and not a good match for them, meaning these men have picked up that they don't have a ton going on in their lives by their profile, and they don't have the confidence to put out something that's really good. So that woman, she might give him a chance. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wow. So obviously it's really important to have a non-generic type of profile. And sometimes,
yes.
I mean, that takes help to really sit down and, you know?
Absolutely, that takes effort, and it does take help, and it's one of the things women do the least because it's something we think should be so easy. But I have heard women time and time again how much they hate online dating, and when I go back, almost every time, it really has to do. They all have what like I said, I term a whatever profile. There's no thought into it. And that comes from, I know where it comes from. It's a lack of fear. It's really, I don't know what to say about myself. I don't know how I'm supposed to talk about myself. I don't want to brag too much. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to push away guys and make them think that this about me or that. Or they go the opposite direction and they start talking about everything they don't want in men,
Yes.
which is unfortunately very unattractive to do. It makes you look extremely jaded, extremely paranoid about the dating process. And it's an unfortunate, I understand it's an unfortunate symptom of past experiences or an unfortunate, I forget the word I'm looking for, Margaret, but it is something that we have to address. If you want this to be an incredible experience for you, start from the beginning. Don't put out something. Would you even think about it this way too? If you read it and out of the thousands of women in your area that you're going through, would you stand out to the type of men that you're looking for?
Right. Right. That's so true. So how does one, well, oh my gosh. I mean, I've been online dating for some time and rewriting because things change and you kind of want to make the profile seem very, like you said, non-vague and more descriptive so they can kind of see themselves in your life a little bit. They can kind of visually see the kind of person you are. Is that right?
Exactly. You actually said it very, very well. Men are very visual. You can hit that visual piece of them with your words, though, not only just your photos. So the photos and having good photos, which is also something we can talk about if you like, is it's an important piece. But what seals the deal for quality men to contact you is the content within the profile. Quality men are not looking for generic women with nothing upstairs. The most long-term seductive quality is your mind, and he needs to be able to see that. He doesn't need you to tell him about it. He needs to be able to see that, but by what you're willing to illustrate with your words in that profile. That, again, pushes on the visual component of them so that they not only can see this woman right in front of him and her realness and her tangibility, but they can feel at the same time with your visual description of what it's like to spend time with you.
Yeah, totally. I love that. All right. So let's say a woman decides, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it this time, getting a good profile. Now, do you have like top 3 online dating sites that you would say would be good for someone that's looking for a relationship?
Okay, so this is a very actually tricky question, and there are a lot of different so-called experts that tell you a lot of different things here. I recommend, and it depends on who you are. First off, I recommend every woman recognizing that there's no across-the-board dating advice that works for every woman. But if you have a hard time, and I don't like the whole, okay, so we have the really short stuff right now, like Tinder, Bumble, all those kind of different sites, which are great if you know what you're doing. The whole back and forth chatting between people, though, that's ongoing all day is not always the best way to communicate with each other online. So you have these very short snippets that you're trying to connect with somebody with. And I think that there's something that needs to be learned behind that. When you have something like eHarmony or Match, you get more content about the person up front and a broader base to start from, which I specifically like for my women who are very timid about online dating. And of course, now I hear a lot of women that talk about incessantly dating all the time and using the short version apps who actually should be doing some of the longer version type first because they need the practice there. Reminder, ladies, I know you're looking for your ultimate partner there, But it's okay to practice there first so that you feel more and more confident. It's also okay to take some time to get to know somebody online and build some chemistry there, besides letting men run their agenda about trying to meet you as fast as they can so they can ascertain chemistry right away. The truth is, building chemistry online, you get the opportunity to see if this man is worth your time and investment, and you get to build some chemistry there. Plus, you get to see whether or not he actually warrants spending time with you. Just because a man says he wants to meet you doesn't mean he warrants spending time with you.
Right. Well, what about men that are texting isn't there like a certain amount of time where you're like, okay, I think it's time we should meet? Rather than
you can absolutely do. There's so many different ways you can set it up, but I've been doing this for a long time, encourage women to take it back a step a little while, because I know we're all afraid that the chemistry is not going to be there when we get there, but the truth is chemistry is malleable, which means the more you get to let him prove to you what he is made of mentally, the better chance you have at long-term chemistry. And you can see a lot of that online or even with phone dates at the beginning without actually ever having to step out of your apartment. The original question from you is do I have recommendations? Yes. I think beginners should go with eHarmony, Match, and OkCupid to work on some of the long form and to practice there. Okay. Once they feel really good there, then you can move to some of the shorter form apps. I also know that a lot of women, especially in Manhattan, which I believe you're located, correct, Margaret?
Yeah.
Yeah, are enjoying the League, which is an app as well. But it is shorter form, but it's something definitely to consider as well.
Oh, yes. I have seen that app and I was on it. And I have to say that I think that the quality was there, but I certainly didn't see quantity. And so I just it just seemed like a long time before there was a match that happened. So I didn't stay on it for that long.
Okay, which, makes sense. Not every app is for every woman, and I also definitely recommend doing a couple apps at the same time. So yes, it's a numbers game, and I want you to have more options, but I also don't want you to inundate yourself at the same time. So picking a couple that feels high quality to you, again, starting off with a really great profile, really great photographs, and then taking the opportunity to learn how to communicate with men differently. Because I am going to tell all of you ladies out there, because I hear a lot about the complaining, well, he just says like, hey, what's up? Things like that. Well, a lot of these, and I know how frustrating that is. A lot of these guys are doing this in response to, there are a few of them that they're just lazy. They're always going to be lazy. But there are a lot of them that are doing it because of our atmosphere, the climate that's going on with women, and they don't want to say the wrong thing. So they really would like to connect with you, but they're afraid that if they connect with you in the wrong way, you're not going to give them an opportunity whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So there are ways you can learn to communicate with men that give him permission to be more fun and playful and interesting with you, and then start developing that chemistry, again, that I was talking about, where you start connecting online, and then that connection is greatly expanded when you meet offline.
Okay. And what about women? Maybe there are some women that are like, look, I am not doing the online dating thing. I really would like to meet someone this year, but I'm not going to do that. What other ways are there to meet men? I mean,
well, there are tons of ways to meet men. I do want to recommend to my ladies who have automatically discounted this. I want you to know you don't have to online date to actually meet men. You can online date to practice interacting with men, which is always a great thing to do, even though we think we know everything about men. It's not true, and we can drastically improve our connection with men by practicing with them. Plus, there are so many different things that we can learn about men that are very simple and easy to do that'll drastically change your dating results, even if you never meet one of them offline. Now, with that said, also the largest pool of single men, high quality men, is online. So it's something that you definitely should consider. If you're not going to do it, no matter what I say, you're like, Jen, no. Just no. Okay, I hear you. Here's the thing. You can, a lot of these different online dating places are now having meetups. You can do speed dating. You can do all those kind of things. Or the biggest thing, as I mentioned at the beginning, one of the key components of finding lasting love has to do with how enthusiastic you are about your life. So if you're getting out there in life and enjoying your life and then opening your eyes to the possibility of romance, you can just energetically start meeting men there. One of the most not talked about ways to meet men too that we've kind of, I guess, stigmatized a little bit, but it's still a really valid way, is telling your friends that you wouldn't mind being set up and what kind of guy you wouldn't mind being set up with. So that's another way to meet men. But truly, especially when you're really enthusiastic about your life, when you work on the things, because we all have kind of these deep-seated issues with men, and start to let all of those pieces go and start to recognize how incredible men can be, you can meet men anywhere, absolutely anywhere. There's no set place to meet men.
Right. They are everywhere.
Yes.
Now,
yes. Even in Manhattan, ladies, even in Manhattan.
Now, what about, because I've always heard about like these, because you were talking about like speed dating events, but there are also like traveling singles who travel, or single cruises, or singles like going to Europe, or things like that. I've never done it. Have you heard of any success stories from that?
I don't have a lot of my clients haven't done it. I still think it's a wonderful idea, but I can't tell you for sure that it has had a lot of success stories surrounded it, just specifically because my clientele doesn't seem to resonate with it. But I think it's a fantastic idea. I think if you're an adventurous soul, why not try it? It's all research when you're dating. And if you look at dating as research for everything you want romantically, then you take a lot of pressure off yourself and your willingness to explore, instead of thinking of dating as a necessary evil. Dating should be not only your research, it should be a really great fun time for you, where you get to learn the interplay between men and women, and how to create lasting love, and how to inspire men to what I say adore you and become an adored woman. That's your opportunity. That's your training ground. So if you don't look at it in a way, your perception's really powerful here. If you don't look at it as just a necessary means to an end, and instead an adventure in itself, all bets are off the table, and you are going to have an incredible time.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I'm that someone that would actually go on a singles cruise and like think nothing
it's fantastic. Yeah, I think that's absolutely awesome.
All right. These are so good. I speed dating. I have also done that. It's been a long, long time since I've done something like that, but I've done it, and it's been, and I used to lead. I don't know if you remember, there used to be, I don't know if they still exist, 8-minute dating. And it was a speed dating kind of event.
Was that exclusively in Manhattan?
No, it was nationwide.
Okay.
And so I became, my
don't
God,
remember that.
This was like 2000, and I want to say 2005, maybe. I became
right before I started all this.
Really?
Yes.
I became a 8-minute dating, I don't even know what they call it, leader, or I started it up when I lived in New Mexico, in Santa Fe. And there's a certain way to do it, and you have to all of this and get it all set up. And it was fun. I did it. I kind of brought speed dating to Santa Fe, and it was like in the newspaper. It was a lot of fun. And about a year later, I met a woman who came up to me and she was like, "Oh, you were the one that led that speed dating event." And I said, "Oh yeah." And she's like, "I met my husband there and this is our baby." Or she was pregnant or something. Yeah, it was so nice. It was a fun event. So anyway, and then I've maybe dabbled in it a little bit. And when I moved back to New York City, a speed dating event, but I haven't done it in a really long time.
Well, I think it's a fantastic way to connect with men on a very non-committal, very short-term basis so that I think it's good that we as women be willing to enter the space and be okay with the space of potential attraction. Personally, I feel we shut ourselves down quite a bit from that in order to maintain our focus on our ambition, and also to protect ourselves from vulnerability. And does that make sense when I say that?
Yes.
Margaret?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So being willing to take on and try opportunities like that and practice your interactions with men and have fun with men and being playful without worrying about the consequences, because vulnerability is one of the sexiest pieces of being a woman, but we are so fierce about protecting that we're shutting men out of our lives. So it's really important that we, with good boundaries, because vulnerability does not exist without good boundaries. They have to work together. This is not about you just letting any guy in just because he wants to. This is specifically about giving men the opportunity to step up for you and show their interest and seeing where that may lead, instead of shutting all these opportunities down because ultimately we're scared of getting hurt.
Right. I totally agree. All right. So, and you know what? The other thought was, I love salsa dancing. And so that's like another way. Like if you go to a salsa.
Yes, that's a great way.
Yeah. There's lots of men there. You never know who you may meet. So just going, like you said, going to things, if you're just like kind of living your life, you love salsa dancing, you're out there doing it. That could be fun. You can meet someone. And in the summertime in the city, there's like, in Lincoln Center, they have salsa under the stars, I think it's called, or outdoors.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah. And so they've got these, and you can go like an hour early. And if you want to learn, they teach you. If not, then you go in at the regular time and everyone's just dancing. And so it's just fun. I think that if you're just putting yourself out there, you don't necessarily need to go to a speed dating event if that like horrifies you. But also at the same time, I think that with something like speed dating, you kind of have to really be somewhat playful about it and not take it so seriously. Like, all right, this could be fun. Like, who cares? Just go type of attitude,
The more you take dating as a fun opportunity for you, and the more fun you make it for yourself, the better your results are going to be. I have to say though, Margaret, you just mentioned dancing and partner dancing, which even the strongest and most ambitious of women, they really do shut down, especially around men they find extremely attractive, because it presses on our insecurities. So I think that suggestion of partner dancing and doing something that, lights you up, but also having close physical contact with somebody you may find extremely attractive is great practice. It's insanely good practice. So that was a really, really good piece.
Yes. I love that. Okay. So women, if they're like, I really want to start dating again. Okay. So we've got online dating. We've got maybe doing some salsa dancing or whatever kind of dancing, if that's your thing or not your thing, but maybe trying something out, maybe even taking a couple classes could be also, because men go to classes, I think, too, What else? Is there anything else that we could be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So specifically, I get to work with women, and this is the time in the year that I do my one and only live round of a program called that I call the Courage Kit. And if you would like somebody to take you under her wing that has done this, that is an expert in this, I suggest your ladies meet me over at thecouragekit.com, because there is a process that you can go through that will be designed to you. So as I mentioned at the top of this, that there's no dating advice, no matter what people tell you, that is across the board going to work all the time.
Right.
You need somebody that gets to know you and gets to know where you're at and gets to know who what you want, what you like, and helps you develop the love life that you want. Teaches you how to date in a way that feels powerful to you, so that you can step into your vulnerability, which again is extraordinarily sexy to men, but do it without stepping out of your boundaries and make dating the most fun that you ever have. You want to, most women, they don't think about this a lot, but you don't want to get to the end of your life and not have some amazing, scandalous dating stories. How boring. I mean, just let's ladies, let's do something different. Let's live out loud romantically and take it up a notch and show, because I know I've seen it with my clients over and over again with myself, that men, they're not the prize. We are. And when we switch, never change who we are, but when we just switch and tweak how we're interacting with men, we set them up in a way to love, cherish, and adore us easily over a lifetime.
I love that. That's what we all want, right?
Yes, we do. And we want to feel alive more than anything. So again, if you want something different, you have to be willing to do something different. You need to be willing to take bigger steps into things. And if you need help doing that, if you need the support system to do that, instead of feeling like you're having to wing it on your own, it's okay to admit. I know, Margaret, you've done this. I've done this. It's okay to admit when we're out of our element and go to somebody else who actually knows what they're doing, so that they can take us into our element and teach us what they know and help us personalize it.
Right.
For ourselves.
And so this Courage Kit, when does this program start?
Officially, it started on February 11th, but I do, if you contact me, I will sneak you in, and I will make sure that you get star treatment.
Nice. All right. Well, let's talk also about Valentine's Day.
Ooh. That's a good one. It's a loaded one too.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So for single women out there, what do you recommend? What do you suggest?
For single women. Well, if you're ready to make this year for dating differently and finding love, come see me at the Courage Kit. If you're not ready, which there's nothing wrong with that, you need to start doing Valentine's Day your way. Instead of seeing it as this day to remind you that you are still single, you are going to flip the narrative on it. What does it mean? Well, it actually means that there's still a million romantic opportunities out there for you. We've got to stop seeing being single as some kind of disappointing sign we wear around ourselves. Okay. So for instance, I tell women all the time, if you're divorced, don't call yourself divorced. You're now single. Singles are an awesome status. There's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. But single women are still, they feel like something's wrong with them because they're single. Now, there's nothing wrong with being single and wanting to be in a relationship. That's fine. But you're not allowed to punish yourself for being single. That's just asinine. So take some time. Come up with some kind of really fun celebration for you, whatever that looks like. If you want to start dating adventures, come see me at the Courage Kit. Otherwise, do something. You can meet up with your girlfriends. You can go have a great time. You can put together an incredibly new profile, incredible, not whatever profile for online dating. You can I know you're into rituals, aren't you, Margaret?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can put together specific rituals, but whatever you do, what I would do the most on that day, if you need to have a little cry session, that's fine. We all need that sometimes. But I'd also do something to laugh. So if you go cry a whole bunch, then do something, make fun of yourself a little bit in a good way. I'm not talking in a demoralizing way, but make fun of yourself a little bit and have some fun with being dramatic about where you are and what you're at, and kind of let those emotions flow through you, and then start to reframe and redo Valentine's Day for you. If you don't want to be alone on Valentine's Day, don't be alone. If you have a great guy friend and you want to reach out to him and say, hey, will you be my Valentine this year? And let's go do something silly. Do that. If you want to do that with your girlfriends, do that. If you want to, I know this one sounds a little bit evil. If you want to go on walks down, let's say, city streets and make fun of all the couples that are at romantic dinners who are on their cell phones while they're
Exactly.
you can do that. It's all good. You get to redefine Valentine's Day any way you want, but it's your day too.
That's true. And I also feel, there have been certainly years that have gone by where I wasn't in a relationship, and it's like, I no longer get upset over this day. It's just another day, and it's actually just high-priced dinner nights out. So
it's very high priced.
And it's just a little insane and over the top, and I could just easily make myself a beautiful dinner at home, buy myself my own flowers, which I do on a weekly basis anyway.
Cool, yeah.
So Valentine's Day shouldn't be so impactful if you're not with someone.
It doesn't mean anything about you. It says nothing about your romantic value, your romantic worth. And by the way, that's a really good key point. You were talking about doing flowers for yourself, things like that. Especially while you're dating, even when you're in a relationship, you have to always be willing to treat yourself the way you'd want the man in your life to treat you. So doing those kind of things for yourself is really important. If you're neglecting yourself because secretly, even though you haven't admitted this, that you don't think you deserve anything, this is a good time to change that right this second, that you're going to stop doing that you're going to start spoiling yourself and treating yourself to the things that you deserve, and treating yourself the way you would want a man to treat you.
Exactly. Oh, that sounds great. So Valentine's Day, yes, I think that it really is just another day. And I don't work corporate, but I know that people who maybe work corporate will start seeing like the roses delivered, like, you start seeing like the balloons coming in, and maybe watching that is just like, I don't really want to see that. Or really, she got roses and I didn't get any this year. It's that whole thing. It's just try not to make it a big deal, because it really isn't.
And be willing, if it's really getting to you, to spoil yourself in other ways. Or even maybe there's that guy out there who really likes you, but you're not that into him, and he wants to spoil you a little bit. I think that that's perfectly okay to let him do as well. It doesn't mean that you owe him a relationship.
Right.
Just the only thing, guys really thrive in appreciation. So the only thing you really owe him is a genuine thank you and to enjoy your time with him.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. All right. So let's see. Was there anything else that we missed about dating, like starting to date again this year? Or, actually, you know what? Let's talk about women that maybe are just like, you know what? No, I'm not feeling it right now.
I say to these women, that is great. You take your time. If you're feeling very apathetic towards dating, you take your time, and you do the things in your life that light you up. And when you decide that maybe you're ready to dip your toe in that water, I suggest coming to me so that I can help you move through the pieces, because I will say, I don't want to make any woman paranoid about dating, but what we do sometimes is that we approach it with such fear that we kind of set ourselves up and men to fail. in with us. So I want you to do it in a way that you have the right knee pads and elbow pads on, so you don't feel like you're exposing yourself so much that you just might die.
Right. And do you feel like there's a energetic, I've always thought that maybe when a woman like really wants a boyfriend, or is just like, I have to have someone in my life, I almost kind of feel like energetically that kind of pushes men away. Do you find that?
Well, it's a phenomena that I talk about called giving your undivided romantic attention to a man before he's actually fallen for you. And this is something women do all the time, which pushes men away. So men cannot handle your undivided romantic attention until they have fallen for you as well. We do this because we all of a sudden experience something with a man that we haven't felt in a very long time. And then we're so sure that this is not going to happen again. And then we lock in on him and make sure he doesn't leave our energetic space under any circumstances or conditions. But that's prison. That's prison for a guy who doesn't feel the same way for you. So yeah, I need women to start taking a step back from that and realizing that they need to make sure they're not giving even their energetic exclusivity to a man until he is also willing to give it to her. So I'm not talking about, women also sometimes confuse, and guys will say this, they'll ask each other, or are you sleeping with anyone else? That's not relationship exclusivity. Okay. I want women to really start to take that in. That is just saying I'm not sleeping with anyone else, which men and women do all the time to try to make it a little more comfortable to sleep with each other. Women interpret that quite a bit as relationship exclusivity. It's just sexual exclusivity. Right. So I encourage women to stop giving their exclusivity away until he is able to step up for you. Because the truth is it's actually really easy to get into a relationship. It's really easy. The more challenging piece to it is to find a relationship that you're excited to be in for the long haul.
Yeah. Well, what if you are dating someone and you're like, well, I don't know. I don't see him as someone that's going to be in my life for a long time. He just doesn't have all the boxes checked necessarily of some of the things that may be really important for me, but he's got like 80% of them. You would encourage them to continue dating them, or?
Yes, under one condition. And one condition only. I teach something that I call mantourage dating, which is dating more than one man at a time until you have your forever man, or indefinitely if you so choose. So I don't encourage you to continue dating somebody exclusively like that if you're always going to focus on that 20% that they have, because you have no other options or talent in what I call your mantourage. So there's nothing wrong with keeping a man in your mantourage that's 80% there. Okay. I think it's perfectly okay to go into a relationship with somebody who's 85% there. That 100% is, and I don't like to say fiction, but 100% is a really, really tall order for any human being towards each other.
Right.
You can get a high percentage of what you want from somebody, but also have to understand that you need to start to learn about the intricacies of male-female dynamics and love, and know how to do things that you need to take care of for yourself in a relationship, and then also understand what different things motivate him to want to keep stepping up for you, because relationships, no matter how good they are going to ebb and flow. Right. And so understanding what's going on with you, and then understanding, we always focus on about men, what men want, what men like, what men need, blah, blah, blah. And what really, that's the biggest piece that we're screwing up as women. What we really need to be focusing on is what we want, what we need, how we can, and then how we can tweak our interactions with men to make them want to step up for us, because they do. And it's actually really, really simple. But if you don't have that first piece, it becomes extremely more difficult because you've made it all about him. Men don't need you to make it all about him ever. He doesn't, unless he's got something going on upstairs that you don't really want to contend with long term. It needs to be about you, especially as a smart, ambitious woman who wants to take on the world.
Okay, so mantourage dating, is there a limit to how many men you can date at a time?
No, technically no, but you do want to make sure that it's not out of your, because I have women who try to interpret it as extreme dating all the time. So they're going on, they're incessantly dating, and that's not what I'm talking about. It is still about quality. So I say anywhere from 2 to 5 men, but that's not a hard and fast rule.
Okay. And what if, what if there's things that you love about one guy, and so you're dating him, and then there's another one, and there's certain things that you just love about him, and at some point, you may need to make some sort of decision. What if neither one of them are really fully the thing that you want?
Well, then you keep dating.
Okay.
That's the one thing we don't give ourselves permission to do. We think that we have to make this choice or we're going to be lonely forever. The truth is, when you're an adored woman, Margaret, and I know you're going to see this as well, that we can bring in love anytime we really want to. It's just whether or not we're willing to. And sometimes we say that we've been really unlucky in love, when the truth is that we needed space to grow ourselves, and we didn't have the space to take on somebody else at the same time.
Okay. I love that. Okay. Well, let's see. Wow, we're almost coming up to our time. Was there anything else that we didn't touch upon about dating now this year, or deciding not to date?
No. Yes. Sorry. No. Yes, I can't. My mic here. No. The thing I really want women to hear me on is that they get a lot of information out there about everything about men. Okay. And I've already talked about that a little bit, but ultimately women are the powerhouse in romance. We are what influences romance more than anything. Getting a man, marrying a man, all those destination pieces are really easy. So it serves you to learn the other pieces so that the destination is the quality that you truly desire.
Okay. Well, this was amazing. As always, Jenn, you always have all the wisdom around dating and, women being single and how to be cherished by men. And definitely, if you are listening to this and you want to work with Jenn, tell us where they can find you, Jenn.
They can find me at a couple places. If you want to work with me right this second, which I have no problem with, come see me at thecouragekit.com. And you can also check out my podcast and go to singlesmartfemale.com.
Which I love. You have such great topics. I love it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
By the way, what happened to your sidekick?
My sidekick, Steph, there's actually an episode on it. This is a new information, which comes out I'm going to let it loose on your podcast. I actually have a new amazing sidekick. And Steph, though, she decided she had never actually elaborated on it, but she didn't want to do Single Smart Female with me anymore.
Okay.
So kind of like a man when he just goes MIA on you and you never know why again. That's what happened. So I let her do her, and I didn't press on it.
Okay. Well, you got someone new coming up, you think?
Oh yeah. It's fantastic. I'm so excited about this one. Even, I love Steph, but I'm even more excited.
Amazing.
About this
well, I'm looking forward to listening.
Okay.
Because I've been kind of curious.
I don't blame you.
All right. Okay. So, and then also Instagram.
Yes, you can find me at, I always forget the underscores. I think it's single_smart_female, or just type in the search single smart female. And hopefully we get to connect that way. But yes, definitely on Instagram.
All right. Because I definitely follow you there as well.
As I follow you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Jenn, thank you so much for just showing us some really great tips for this year if there are women out there that are really desiring to find that person, or even just, to learn more about Mantourage dating. I think I love Mantourage dating, by the way. It's something that I've been doing for some time now. And I feel fulfilled.
That's great. I'm so excited to hear that.
I feel very fulfilled, and I get fulfilled in different ways from the different men. And so it's kind of really nice. It just, I don't know, it kind of keeps my mojo up, and I don't know, just kind of keeps me juicy. That's good.
I wouldn't disagree with you on that. There's a lot of potential in letting men lift you up instead of you trying to be the one who does all the heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm. So true. So true. All right, Jenn, thanks again. And we'll talk to you soon. And I'm looking forward to hearing your next podcast with your new person, with your new host.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you again for having me.
All right. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. And to learn more about Jenn and for all the show notes, head on over to margaretromero.com/episode 107. If you want to learn about her Courage Kit, you're going to have all the information there and where to find her. And if you're not following me yet on Instagram, you will find me at Margaret Romero. And if you have been loving all of these conversations and interviews, head on over to iTunes and leave a review. Thanks so much for listening this week. Love to you all. Bye for now.